back to another video. So I've been gone for I think a little over a week, and I left pretty much right after me finishing up Otafest, which is like a 3-day anime convention in my city. I did not really get time to fully recap or process my time at Otafest this year since I had to leave the country almost immediately. So today is going to be more like a sketching, chatting type of video. So sketching wise, I think what we're gonna do is that I'm probably just gonna mindlessly sketch or doodle some of my favorite characters. Now this is probably just gonna span from any of my favorite like Hoyoverse characters, it could be ensemble stars, it could be my OCs, it could be, what else is there, VTubers. So I'm just gonna sketch whoever comes to mind on this page. We're just gonna use graphite so that I don't have to think too much and I can kind of form my thoughts a little bit more about Otafest. Now, actually, before we actually start doing the sketching portion, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit and I'm gonna do like a mini haul of what I got at Otafest so that you guys can see typically what I try to aim for when I buy things at an anime convention. Every year, progressively, it gets less and less. I spend more time behind the table, but also I just don't have a lot of room to collect a bunch of like larger items, and a lot of the things me and my friend like to get are like larger art prints. So I'll just admire them from afar and get like an occasional print or something like that. So let me show you guys really quick what I got. I also forgot to mention, I'm still recovering from being sick, so if my voice kind of fluctuates in and out, it's probably because like sometimes my throat gets cleared and I have no more coughing, but then sometimes it just kind of comes back. So if I sound different, that's probably why. But to start off, this was actually the badge for this year. I don't think I have access to the ones that I had from previous years. They're all in a box somewhere else, but I typically like to keep my little lanyard and my pass. So this is the one for Otafest. They have one of their original characters on the front. These basically allow you to get into the convention. Now, anyone who has like actual passes for the days to get into different events and stuff, your passes will look different. But this is what it looked like for us as the exhibitor, artist alley, and vendors, I believe. So yeah, super cute. I like to keep these just as like a memory sake type of thing. It also just feels bad to throw away a lanyard, so I keep them regardless. So next up are items that I actually personally purchased from other artists. Now, like I mentioned, I didn't peruse as much as I would have liked. One, because we often spend time like behind our table more often enough. We don't like leaving in the middle typically, unless we need to like use the washroom or like if there's something we really want to get, with this like beeline our way there. So there were a few artists that I really wanted to pick up some stuff and some artists that I ended up missing. But let's start off with one of the larger items. So you guys can't really see this that well, so I'll take it out of the sleeve, but I had to get at least one of their prints. I had to get this artist's foil prints. So they only had a few available. The one that I really wanted was the Anaxa one that they had. I might have to check whether or not they're gonna have like an online store or something, because I believe when I was talking to the artist's husband, who is the one who sold me the print at the time because she wasn't at her table, she really likes her Anaxa print, so it's like one of her favorites, and that's the one I really, really wanted. But this one has not gold foil, it has like hollow foil on it, and it's super pretty. It is a little bit warped from my suitcase, unfortunately, but I had to get this one of Donheng because one, it was one of the characters that I really liked that she drew. I'm sad I could not get the one of Anaxa, but this one's also super pretty. So this is, I think, my first purchase, and I bought it on, I think, just before Artist Alley opened on Saturday. It was funny because when I was talking to the artist's husband, he wasn't expecting to have anybody buy at the table, so I kind of caught him off guard. But I had to buy it before it was going to be sold out, because they sold out super quickly on Friday, and I was so sad. But good on them, but like, I really wanted that Anaxa print. Second thing I bought, which happens to be my table neighbor, which is funny because my friend was a super big fan of hers, or is a super big fan of her. So we ended up buying charms together. So both me and her got the same charm. She did get an extra one because it was like, I think buy two get one free or something like that. So the one that I got from her table, which me and my friend actually have matching ones right now because we both like the one of Danheng. So it's this really cute one, has like a green little bit, kind of like the clear acrylic, but it has like a little bit of that green tinge to it, which I think looks super cute. Has epoxy on one side, and it just kind of matched my keys. I kind of have like a blue teal thing going with my keys, so yeah. Little Danheng from my table neighbor, which I'll put their stuff on the screen as well, because super talented, super pretty art. I got like tiny charms. So this is from, if I'm remembering correctly, Cred Brums. So this tiny little Nouvelette mini charm. I want to make a bunch of little mini charms because they could be so derpy, but this one's so cute. I also got Danheng, if you can't see, a theme. But he's on my phone right now. So I got this little one of Danheng. He also went with me when I went to Hong Kong and China during my overseas trip. And luckily he survived. I was a little bit scared that he wasn't gonna survive, but I got these two. I forgot to inform my friend about these little guys, so she was like, low-key saying like, why didn't you tell me? We could have bought ones together. It would have been a little bit cheaper too, but you know, I had to get these guys. They're so cute. So the next few things, some of them are gifts and some of them are like either commissions or like prints and stuff that I ended up getting. So a artist that my friend and I both liked their booth quite a bit. I'll make sure to hopefully link the correct Instagram or like their social media, because I believe there's two artists that were sharing their table. I ended up getting this one Danheng print. They have another one that I really like. I'm probably gonna buy it off of their online shop because there was one that I wanted more than this one. This one's still really pretty. I still really like their style and stuff, so I wanted to at least pick up one postcard. But they also had Alien Stage photo cards. Their art is so pretty. So we have Till, we have Luca, we have Sua, Mitzi, and then we have Hyuna. So if you're wondering why didn't you get Ivan, I tried. He was sold out fairly quickly. So actually I did end up buying these, I think sometime during Saturday. So they sold out of Ivan super fast. I ended up getting dupes of Mitzi and Hyuna because I ended up getting some for my friend, and Mitzi, Hyuna, and Till are her favorites, but she already bought Till earlier that day. So she wanted me to pick them up before they ran out because she saw that Ivan sold out very quickly and she was scared the rest were gonna go out like one by one. So yeah, ended up getting 5 photo cards. Super pretty, super pretty. So these are from the same artist. Next thing. So the next thing I ended up getting was a commission. So I got a commission of my OC Masaki in the super cute style. So this is actually a mutual of mine. I believe they were like Play fans, so that's kind of like what we bonded over initially. And they were tabling also at like Rakuten. I think the K-pop market is where I met them. So yes, they have such an adorable style. So I had to get Masaki, and they were gracious enough to draw me some little extras. I'll post a commission. We basically almost did like an art trade. Basically felt like an art trade because I commissioned her and she commissioned me. So I'll put my commissions of her stuff on the screen here because she commissioned me to draw Gerard. And I love drawing VTubers. They're just so much fun. And it helps that I ended up knowing like the VTuber themselves, so it does become a little bit easier for me to draw. I believe they were table mates, so it was easy for me to drop off their commissions later, but she ended up drawing me a gift as well. In the end, I should have just commissioned her, to be honest, but I should have just asked. I thought maybe she was only doing commissions for one day, so I wasn't like, I thought it was too late. So maybe in the future, if I see her again at a convention, I will commission her. But she drew my OC Kaisen, super cute. I always like this style of like, they both do kind of like colored lead and then do graphite on top, and I always like that look. It's super pretty on both. But I ended up doing a commission for her as well of Kenji, so independent VTuber, and I drew, I think it's Izuru from Hollow Stars as well as like a little chibi version. I am an idiot and I forgot to take pictures of my last 3 commissions on Sunday. Probably because they were rushed towards the end, so I was just, you know, worried about finishing them on time and making them up to a certain quality. So the last thing I bought was that, I think it started last year at AnimeFon. I started this thing where I was gonna stop buying plushies. I'm a fiend for like plushies, especially anything that has like, sorry Jace, 2 dot eyes and like either a smile or like a frowning face, any kind of like mouth. I don't really care for like noses or anything like that, just 2 dot eyes and some kind of facial expression I'm like happy with. I love the derpy kind of look. So my friend likes to joke that every time I buy like a plush or anything, it has that face. But I told myself I would stop buying so many because my shelves are completely filled with just plushies, and I want to collect so many Pokemon ones. It's bad. But especially because I have access to the Pokemon Center online, I need to stop. But plushies. So I ended up not buying any for, I think it was Otafest 2 years ago. I ended up not buying any, but AnimeFon, I started doing the little Sanrio blind boxes. Now, I'm not really a person who's like into what would be considered like gambling. I don't really get that high. So when I play gacha games, I am F2P on all of them, and it's not because like I'm trying my best to be F2P. I'm just not compelled to pay money. So I don't really get that high, I think, from like summoning characters and stuff. I just like the characters. So I ended up doing blind boxes for me and my friends, and I will probably continue to do this every so often. I think it's just cute to do like a blind box with your friend. One, it's like a little gift to her, but also like it's just kind of fun. So we did Sanrio once, and we were both hoping to get Cinema Roll. Last time, I think we were both hoping to get Cinema Roll. I got Kuromi and she got Pochako, I think. So she was very happy because she really likes Pochako as well. I think that's like her second favorite. So for me, I actually ended up getting Cinema Roll, and she ended up getting My Melody, and we hung these on our passes for the entirety of Sunday because I bought these little blind boxes on the last day just because I thought it'd be cute to do, you know, one more little blind box. So I think I will continue doing that. These are more like keychain plushes, so they're not like super big, and I don't know, I think it's just kind of fun to have like a little tradition with my friends if I ever do like tabling with them. But the last few things that I ended up getting, so I am so sorry to whoever, I don't know if they even watch my YouTube, but if you do, I'll probably post this on my stories too to see if I can find the artist. They just dropped off a Reimu print, and they were like, oh, I was meant to give this to you at AnimeFon, but they weren't able to, and they gave me a Reimu print. So I'm not too sure if they know that Reimu is one of my Oshis. If you did, thank you so much for giving this to me. I know a lot of people were looking for other artists who were doing like VTuber merch and stuff, so yeah, thank you very much for the Reimu print to the person who ended up just dropping this off and then running off. Thank you so much. I would love to get your handle or anything, so yeah, this is super cute, so thank you. And then the last thing was that when we were doing like our teardown for Artist Alley, a artist gave us 2 prints. So both of them are of Calyx, which I think is super cute. So I am also Calyx, I was gonna say biased. He's my Oshi as well, so I was super happy to receive both of these. I will put their handles on the screen because when they stopped by my table, I asked them if they could have given me any of their business cards because I was having a hard time looking for any sort of like signage or anything that will give me their handles so I can follow them back. So here are their business cards, if you guys would also like to follow them. I'll put their handles like either in the description or on the screen so that you guys have an easier time looking at them. Yeah, business cards and 2 super cute and pretty prints from 2 lovely artists who also love Calyx. So it was really nice to meet a lot of people who still, you know, enjoy VTubers and stuff. I will probably still continue to draw them because I still adore them. So it's nice to have that sense of mini community among everybody. So I think that concludes the haul portion. I'll try my best to like cut down the footage so it's not overly long so we can get to the sketching portion so I can kind of wrap up my thoughts during that instead. So while I recorded this video a little bit later in the week, I ended up posting the, what is it called? I guess it's kind of like a recap haul type thing where you usually tag the artists that you ended up like, you know, buying stuff from at Artist Alley, and I don't know, just kind of like doing like a little haul. So I ended up doing that for Otafest finally on my Instagram, and I forget who it is. It's the artist of the Reimu drawing that I said earlier that I actually had no clue who it was. They replied alongside with another mutual of mine who actually let me know that they recognized the art style. So it was very nice because I was able to properly tag them later. And for this video, I'll be able to put their username as well. Because I always feel a little bit like wary about not being able to credit artists and stuff if I ever have to put them in like a video, or if I post about them on like my story and stuff. I would like to give proper credit to people. I don't know why I made him more of like a 3/4 view. I was gonna make him front facing. That's okay. I don't know in the future if I will make too many like vlog type videos, but if I do end up making a few more like projects with I guess like a lot more behind the scenes stuff that I could potentially record, so I can keep either track of some stuff or so that I can kind of inform you guys about the process, then I will definitely do that. I was a bit too nervous to film like in person at an event with a bunch of strangers. In the comfort of like my own kind of studio room, it's fine. So I'll be able to at least film the behind the scenes end of that. I think it's also recording while my friend's present. It does feel a little strange. But like I mentioned in I think the first vlog, so I like to call my two best friends. So we have friend A and friend B. I only call one friend A only because one, I kind of like put them in order of like when I met them. It just because it's just easier for me to remember how to organize them without like, you know, saying their actual names. But one of them also just starts with the letter A, so kind of just works out. And the letter B kind of is like more of an inside joke. But friend B was the one that was helping me table this time. Friend A was the one that helped me table during RakuCon. So they do sometimes alternate depending on who's free or just wants to like attend the event. So I kind of made this joke a while back as well that ever since the first time I think I applied to AnimeFon when I was younger, I got into both AnimeFon and Otafest at the same time. And luckily, like, they're almost always, like, at least, like, a few months apart. One happens in May, particularly, every year. And then the other one happens in beginning of August. I think there was, like, one exception that one of the conventions was moved very briefly to, I think, the middle or, like, the beginning of July. Only the 1 year was that I was accepted to both, because both of them do have lottery system. I don't remember if Otafest is completely lottery system. They might have had like 30% jury and then like 60% lottery and like 10% guest or something like that. The kind of like distribution of those definitely shifted over the years, and I think that was for like one of the previous years a while ago, so I don't know if they kept the same format. I made his head a lot larger, so we're gonna have to slowly extend his body a bit more. I think I've talked about this in the one that I did of AnimeFon last year. Small little goals that I have for whenever I table at a convention, or I guess like attend at a convention at this point. But the only times I attend is if I'm actually tabling, because me and my friends just don't go as often to conventions as we did when we were younger. So to give a little bit more context, back in I think the 8th grade, so middle of junior high, I think that was the first time I went to an anime convention, which is actually the same one, Otafest, but it used to be like small, like super small. It might have been like 2 rows of artists at kind of like our university. And then it slowly expanded to being in like, I think the artist alley used to be in its own conference room, or it was kind of like a gym that had slowly started accepting like exhibitors as well. Limited amount of artists, obviously. And like the products that they sell were pretty much strictly 2D printed items that were like prints, posters, postcards, and then you would have like, what are they called? Like laminated chibis on lanyards. So those were very popular. And at the time, me and my friends were into Hitalia, so we would get like little Hitalia laminated charms. Because at the time, acrylic charms were probably very hard to come by, especially overseas. But now there's so many manufacturers that make them, and a lot of people have access to them now. So it's like one of the popular items, I think, among people. Obviously, stickers were an option as well, but I think the options for stickers was very limited back then too. And then I think I started tabling in 2018 or 2019. And my first tabling experience was also at Otafest. I think I had a half table, so it was either 3 foot or 4 foot. And it was friend A who accompanied me to table, I believe, because friend B was busy. And unfortunately, I could only have like one friend behind the table alongside with me. So it would have been hard to choose between them, but typically I pick whoever is just free on that time and whoever asks first typically, or if it requires like a distance to drive, friend A typically volunteers to drive me, which I am thankful for because I am not confident in driving. I think a lot of you guys are aware of that since of the more recent vlog I talked about being nervous driving to even like my downtown area. Try my best to find people who also did sketch commissions, because once I started tabling, I noticed that not very many people actually did sketch commissions anymore at Artist Alley. I'm sure it's because like the amount of time and with how busy Artist Alley gets now, it's probably hard for people to be able to do commissions while actually tabling, especially if you're like working alone. So luckily for me, I will typically always have some sort of helper. So it gives me time to let them man kind of the front of my booth while I usually work on sketch commissions, which I'll talk about in a little bit because I had a little bit of a scare. But I want to make it a goal to at least find an artist at each convention that I will attend or I'm tabling at and just ask them to draw one of my OCs. And I usually get Masaki done. So I started that last year, and I think the artist Risu Cream was the one who did the commission that I got at Anime-thon. And then this year, I'll put their... Well, I guess I would have put their handle earlier. I don't really know how to say their username. It's the one that starts with an H. I'll put it on the screen here. But I was able to commission them as well. I was glad there was like actually quite a few people doing commissions this time around. I was actually talking to them, I believe it was them, saying that there is more commissions available. Like people were taking commissions this time compared to like previous years, because I've heard from other attendees saying that like I was one of the only people who did sketch commissions, and it's kind of nice and sad at the same time because obviously I do not fit everybody's standard of sketching, as well as like my repertoire of like what I sketch is very particular. So obviously not everybody is going to want this particular style or anything like that. So I was happy to see a bigger variety. There's some people who did like more color as well, which is nice. I wish I had the confidence to do color again. I did watercolor for 1 year and I did color pencils another year, and oh boy. Even though I'm capable of doing them at an okay speed and okay consistency, it's just really physically demanding when you have to do a full color. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'll zoom in for you guys so you guys can see Masaki a little bit more clearer. talking a little bit about commissions. So if I kind of backtrack towards, let's start with like setup day. So during setup day, if you watched the vlog that I posted on Saturday, you know that setup was from 12 p.m. to 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. So it was from noon to just before midnight, I guess. And you had all that time to do your setup, which I think is great that they give you so much time, because I know a lot of non-local artists flew in, so it gives them a lot of time to actually, you know, come to the venue to set up their stuff. And I know there's some people who also set up on the day of, because they give you, I think, 3 hours before the doors open for Artist Alley that you can actually use to set up as well. I like to come at least an hour early to kind of fully set up, because after I do the initial run of like setting up my grids, putting up my prints, and I kind of do a mock trial of what my kind of setup typically looks like at home. But because I was reusing my setup from Rakuten from like 2 months earlier, I knew nothing was going to change like super drastically. So I ended up not doing a mock-up at home, and I wanted to at least lay everything out so I could physically see it, take a photo, and then me and my friend have something to reference a little bit later. So I would set up like all my stickers. I would try to put anything that I need to have displayed, like minus signage, because I didn't have that finished yet. And then I would stow everything away. Now, I know some people are a little bit more cautious or wary. I feel lucky that I've not really had any bad experience with theft as much in like Artist Alley. So I actually store my stickers and displays underneath my table. Typically, some of them are in suitcases, and then I would keep them behind, like underneath the chairs and stuff. So it still takes a little bit if you actually had to rummage to grab things, but I never have anything that's like physically on display that's easily grabbable on my table. So the only thing I would leave on my table is my grid display alongside with my prints on my grids. I then would take my suitcase that has like all my grids and stuff. I would take that home, and the only suitcase that I would have on the actual premise would be the one that is storing my, I guess it's like bags and stuff. So cellophane bags, anything like that, tape, scissors, like utility, I would keep overnight because I'm usually not too concerned of them getting stolen. Go back the next day and then bring in another suitcase. So I right now have one suitcase under the table, and then I'll bring in one more that will actually have my stock, because I will always bring my cash box and my stock home every night. I never leave them on the premise at all, ever. The only exception will be like my individual stickers, because unless someone's gonna klepto them all at once, it's mostly unlikely. So, you know, I think it's also because like I'm not a super big name artist when it comes to like conventions and stuff, so it's not like I'm a big target, but that doesn't mean I won't be a target at all. So yeah, just be wary if you're doing Artist Alley. Either like lock up your suitcases, tie them to your table or something. So it just puts a little bit more effort for whoever's trying to be a kleptomaniac and starts to steal from your table. They have to put in a little bit effort. Some people put like a tablecloth, a plastic sheet, something else to cover their entire display, which I think is also smart, because it's another way for people to, one, not to see your merch so they don't know what you have available, but then two, often is a little bit more of a deterrence for people to want to steal. The only people who should be at Artist Alley are people who are also artists. Like, I mean, like during after hours or like before the actual event starts. So like we shouldn't really be worried about other people taking our stuff, because you would hope people would have the same mindset as you, that you put in all this effort to make your merch. So it'd be sad if someone were to just take it, especially without paying. Grid displays. So I showed in my vlog that I like to use like zip ties and stuff as well. But now I've witnessed, typically I've only seen people's like grid displays usually fall or like tip over. They're a little bit more flimsy at times. so people can accidentally knock them over if you bump the table, or someone's stuff gets caught, they could accidentally drag it, anything like that. So I've always used zip ties to at least make sure that the thing comes in one piece, so that if you were to, for some reason, catch it or grab it by any means, I would be able to stop it from tipping over, at least from the back side. So I like to use zip ties to adhere all the panels together. But like I mentioned, I witnessed someone's like PVC pipe or like one of the photo backdrop booths actually tip over. But luckily no one was hurt. It didn't tip over like completely, but they did have like a super tall display. And luckily the people who were also at their booth, they had a lot of people there. So I'm sure that's probably another reason why I potentially could have gotten like pushed over, because they had a lot of foot traffic. But a lot of people like caught the display, so it was nice that nothing terrible happened. It did happen on day 2, so it's like one of the busier days as well. I'm trying to see. I did meet a lot of you guys actually though at the convention. I do apologize. I am extremely shy, but I also have what my friend likes to call a resting sad face. So sometimes I do think I am smiling, but I have to smile like pretty large for me to probably display that I am showing some sort of like a happier emotion, unfortunately, because I don't like smiling typically when I'm out and about. I don't know if it's just because my neutral face is like not neutral. It just makes me look like I'm sad. And I think I've told this story before where in high school, a girl used to check up on me every time, and I thought she was doing it as like a formality of being like, you know, how are you kind of thing. But she always asked like, oh, are you feeling okay? Or like, how are you doing? Are you feeling fine? Like all that stuff. And apparently it was because I look sad like all the time. So if I seem like I was like, how do I explain it? Neutral faced almost when talking to you, I do apologize. I was probably too nervous to like smile super big. So I probably just neutralized my sad face, but I am also more on the soft-spoken side in terms of just like generally speaking. My friend luckily can project her voice actually pretty well, so she can be often heard. But we also are a little bit hard of hearing when it comes to convention spaces, just because it does get really loud. Seem like I'm not responding to you. I promise I am. I usually go like, or like, or like, like as a response. So it might seem like I just go silent. I am so sorry. I think in the future, I am going to try my best to project my voice. I will try to do that. But thank you to anybody who ended up stopping by at my table. There was like this super sweet girl. She also ended up commissioning me a few times. And I'll talk about commissions again, because like I said, I had a little bit of a commission scare on the first day, Friday. So let me quickly backtrack. So the one girl who came by, I think a few times to get commission, super sweet. I wish I could have talked to them a little bit more. I ended up giving them a few freebies. Now, I might have made a mistake. I printed off like I printed off 2 sheets of like Hansuke stickers, but one of them has like a miscut, and under the light, I could not see the miscut. So, or not under the light, under normal light, I could not see the miscut. So I stored my Hansuke stickers in my blue folder, and I don't know who I accidentally gave the Hansuke stickers to that had the miscuts. Because, let me grab it. I'm pretty sure the one that I have right here does not have a miscut. And because of that, that means the 3 that I grabbed, one of them has the misaligned cut somewhere, because this one came out unscathed. So I am hoping I accidentally gave it to my friend and she is understanding, because I gave her one of these sheets in the past, so hopefully she doesn't mind. But if I gave it to the one person who came by to my booth, I really do apologize. I tried my best to give you a few freebies because you were absolutely such a sweetheart, and thank you so much. So I hope you don't mind the little photo cards and sticker sheets of both Kumabon and Hansuke. So Hansuke is my little green cat mascot, and then I have Kumabon, who is the teddy bear that you guys often see with Kaisen. So I will do a video about them maybe in the future. Or I'll draw like Kaisen with the bear again, so I can make like a proper introduction of that. But back to commissions. So I take commissions every time I have a more than 1 day convention event. So at the K-pop convention, the K-pop one and RakuCon, I did not take commissions. I don't like doing 1 day events and taking commissions because I like being fully present during those times, as well as I don't think I have enough time to squeeze it in. So this is how I typically take commissions. I have my samples displayed at my table. I don't think I have a good photo of it, so I do apologize. Maybe, I guess the post that my friend posted of me being sad that we broke our suitcase handle, maybe that has it, because I think it might actually have our full display on. Have the samples, and then if a person asks like, oh, I would like to commission you, I would actually give them my blue clipboard and I have them fill out a small little form that has like a space for their character, a way for me to contact them. So like usually a number for me to text. I would never ever call, but to text the person so they can come pick up their commission, because sometimes if I am speedy and I don't have a lot on my plate, I can finish the commission within the artist alley hours, and I guess it depends on when the commission was being placed, right? Because if it's placed near closing time, I would have to confirm with them 100% for sure that they have to pick it up the next day. So on Friday, my friend was also worried because I actually got 0 commissions on Friday. And I kind of know why now, because like I said, it was kind of like a good and a bad thing. Bad because like, you know, not as much traffic towards myself, but it's good because I want to see more people doing commissions at conventions, because it's one of the things like me and my friend really miss, and we love being able to get like some sort of like custom original art from artists if you can, and having commissions available I think is like one of the best ways. Obviously not every artist is going to be able to do so, so I don't think there should be a pressure to do it, but I do like seeing that there is more of like a rise in commissions again, especially because it seemed like there was like a huge break of not having commissions being done anymore, sketch commissions I guess. But I got 0 commissions on Friday, so I was a little bit scared that that was going to be the entire weekend, which is not, like I said, not great for me, just because it does make up a good chunk of my revenue when it comes to convention days. I wish I had like an actual total count. I know I used to keep track of like everything that I end up selling, so I would tell my friend to do tally marks of what products sold, and then how many, so that I could have a good reference point. But I ended up stopped doing that because I found it a little bit too annoying. My friend and I would have too many people at the same time come to the booth, and we would forget to mark things down, so it wouldn't never really be accurate either. But at least for like commission count, it was helpful. So I think I always get maybe, let's say 10 plus every con. That I can probably guarantee, because even this time I got more than 10. I forgot to take pictures of 3 commissions at the very end. So I only have 2 from Sunday, but I do have a few from Saturday, which I feel like was just a better day for commissions in general. I have to thank my friend a lot. She does a lot of heavy lifting in terms of promoting my commissions whenever she gets a chance to. So I was able to do a few. I did do some for mutuals, which is always fun to do because we have like similar interests. I did commissions of a few VTubers, like I mentioned, which are always fun because if I'm more like aware of the character, I can kind of play around with like either their posing or, I don't know, just throw in a few extras or something like that for them, which I ended up doing. But what else is there? Commissions. So Typically, I would recommend doing like a few trial runs if you plan to do commissions at your table or at your space. And if you can, it does help having some sort of like table partner, table assistant, or somebody else, so that if you do have to work on commissions during your time at a convention, they can help run your booth a little bit and just make sure that, your booth isn't going to be vulnerable to people just like perusing and just like taking things without you seeing if you're always looking down at your paper. So the other thing is that commissions, I think more people do like sketch type commissions. Like I said, there's a few people who do like color. Some people I think do like pen and marker. Some people do pencil. The ones that I got were done with, it was like a colored lead and then they use like normal graphite on top. For me, I do ones that look kind of like this, where it's just like the, what is it called? Just graphite kind of look, and just do whatever's like the most comfortable and that you're the most confident in doing. Sketching with pencil is like, for me, one, the quickest. Two, I think I'm able to knock out things like value and shading and making it look more finished and polished if I do it with a medium that I'm comfortable with. But the other thing is like, how many can you accept in a day? So for me, on a good sketching day, I can actually finish commissions probably within an hour of like the person requesting it, as long as that I'm not being super preoccupied with things. So like, pretend if my friend wants to go peruse Artist Alley, which she is always free to do so, I can take a break from the commission and I can just man the booth by myself. As well, if she needs to take like, lunch break or like a water break, bathroom break, she can do whatever. She can ditch me at the table if she wants. And I can basically just be at the table by myself. I still have to be able to complete the commission if I accepted it and it's supposed to be picked up that day. Otherwise, you can always allow people to pick up the commission the next day, but you have to let them know prior. So I would let them pick a day for pickup. So for the form, they can do same day pickup, especially if they're only there for legit like one day. Some people only have like the 1 day pass. So if they were to get a commission, let's say at 1 p.m., I would try to get the commission done before Artist Alley closes, obviously. But I'll try to aim for the like an optimal time. So on the back of my pass, it has like the hall open hours. So on Friday and Saturday, I'm gonna just skip Friday just because I did not get any commissions on Friday. On Saturday, I would not accept any commissions past 6 o'clock. And if it was same day pickup, because I would not guarantee comfortably that I could finish the commission before Artist Alley closes, because I also need to give time for the client to race back to Artist Alley if they're not still perusing during that time. So oftentimes, if anyone starts to commission me at the very end of Saturday, I have to ask them that they'll be around on Sunday. And typically if they request something on Saturday that late, they usually have like a weekend pass, so they are usually available the next day. Urgent commissions during that day, and then any commissions that need to be picked up the following day, I work when I get back home. So I think if you guys saw my stories, I ended up crashing and not being able to finish my commissions all in one night sitting. I was too tired to keep my eyes open, so I ended up waking up early instead, because I'm the type of person who needs at least, let's say, 4-ish hours. I think I only got 3 hours though of sleep, just to keep my eyes open and my brain functioning, to do the commissions. So I was able to finish them regardless, and I don't like to, what is it called? Gyp people out of their commissions. So I do spend a good time on each of their commissions. I'm not trying to like speed my way through. So that's why I typically like to do them at night when I have like as much freedom of time as I can. I would love to do watercolor commissions again, but I would have to check, because it would be great to do them as more like of an overnight commission and maybe only accept like one per convention day. So I would guess I would only realistically be able to do 2 of them if I have to take them home. And then let's talk a little bit about actually handling the booth behind each day, because I think handling, like, tabling by yourself and tabling with a friend, or like just tabling in general, I think it's just like a fun experience. So I think if you're interested in this type of stuff, do a lot of research, and I hope you get to experience either attending an anime convention, an artist alley type of esque event, or be able to participate in one like as on the back end, because I think it's fun. I don't know. Maybe I'm just sounding like a crazy person. But let me switch gears and draw somebody else. And then we'll talk a little bit more about like actually tabling experience. I was like debating on who I was going to draw next. I actually don't know. Maybe Donhung. I did end up getting a lot of merch of him at Otafest. So maybe it's appropriate. See if I can squeeze him here. I don't really like drawing somebody's face that goes across the middle part of like binding of a sketchbook or anything, so I might have to offset him. Okay, but tabling. So tabling experience just like over the past few years, but I think I'm going to talk more specifically about Otafest because I think there's like a lot of things that were improved in terms of like just tabling in general. For like setup and stuff, and things I would like to try for the future. So I already mentioned kind of just like general setup of the table using grids. I find is one of the easiest ways, and they're a little bit cheaper, but they are kind of like bulky and heavy. So but I think I'm trying to remember where I got mine. I think I got 2 sets from Amazon a few years ago. And there are like different types. You can get white ones, you can get black ones. I think you can get ones that have more like opaque or frosted like panels. And I've seen pink ones. You can also just customize your own by wrapping some sort of like vinyl and covering up those surfaces if you want like a different kind of, what is it called? Color scheme. But at least for me, I find grids the easiest. I did like don't do what I did, but I panic bought like the photo booth setup. So luckily I ended up using it for my friend's bachelorette party. So at least it's been at least used, and it's not just sitting in my closet being untouched because I am too unsure about how I want to do displays in the future. As initially I was just gonna keep expanding the amount of prints that I had and just continuously like expand, but I think for the size and the amount that I want to have, it's easier for me to just like restart over almost and get rid of all of my old ones and just get new stuff out. A part of me kind of kept my old stock only because it made my booth look more full, which is sad, but a lot of my old prints still do well, luckily, so it's not like they're taking up unnecessary amount of space. But I am going to retire them. For prints, I did show in the vlog that I keep all my prints kind of like in plastic protective sleeves, the ones that you can find for like binders and stuff, and I tape them and make sure they're in kind of like the correct placement and order. How do I want to position him actually? I always mention that I recommend doing a mock-up of your setup if you can. I just do it on the floor, and I take it like a tape measure and try to figure out the exact width and the kind of like length of the table so that you know exactly how much space you're gonna have prior to the actual setup. So like nothing will come too much as a surprise, hopefully. When I was doing like the setup, I do recommend if you can do the layout of your like everything and then taking a photo so that like on the day of actual setup, if you have someone helping you, it can help speed up the process a little bit more, but also you don't have to do too much like guessing work and having to like tear things down, putting them back up. I ended up having to rearrange a few of my prints in the end, but for the most part, it stayed the same format as what I had initially. So I highly recommend doing a mock-up first. And then second of all is doing a lot of research on how you want to do your display. So if you haven't been to like an artist alley before, searching up even just like artist alley booth setups into like Google Images and stuff can give you a lot of ideas. Some people do like the PVC pipe method and doing like hooks and like shower curtain rod type of thing. and all that kind of stuff. Some people have like the setup where you can actually clip poles to your table, but you have to check your rules and regulations per convention. I know some of them don't allow you to have your setups like that, because if your table were to, I don't know, you can't like accidentally put too much weight on it, or you can't have it like tip over and fall. Some of them have a height restrictions. Just make sure you're like following all the guidelines so that you're not breaking rules, because I've also heard from my friends and other artists that I follow that a lot of people at Anime North got kicked out. I don't think they were banned, but they got kicked out for not following technically table rules of having other people man their tables while they're taking breaks and all that jazz. So they're very strict for some conventions, so it's better to stay on their good side if you can. But on the back end of tabling, so my friend and I use the suitcase a lot as kind of like a way to either store everything or as propping it up as kind of like a leveled surface that's higher than the floor. And we have like the 2 binders that have my stickers and my prints always on standby. Cash box stays usually within our suitcase. Because it requires you to flip it open and for us to grab it, so that if we were to happen to have too many customers or something, we would notice movement of somebody opening the suitcase. So, you know, people can't just like easily take it. Because technically, if a person was weird enough, they could technically go under the tablecloth or whatever on the front, because our table is like skirted on 3 sides. And then oftentimes conventions require you to have your own tablecloth. So I bring like a navy blue tablecloth to cover completely the front side of my table, so you can't see our suitcases and our legs. And then anywhere behind my table, it's never like fully covered, so that we have easier access to grab underneath our table. My friend, the way how we sit, she's more like in the center and I'm more towards, if you're in my perspective, I'll be on the left-hand side. Now, usually I swap sides with my friends sometimes. It depends on the convention and just like the space. But I always leave myself like a little bit of a gap from the table, so that if I need to place anything, let's say our phones, or if I have to do commissions and stuff, I need a ledge to prop my book or my, what is it called? Clipboard against. So try to utilize your space. I did see people bring kind of like those IKEA hanging bucket type things. They're kind of like small plastic and they're like very light, and you can kind of hook it on the back of your grids. I kind of wanted to see if I could get some of those in the future to help organize some stuff for me and my friend, so that we're not just freeballing with plastic sheets, tape, our scissors, pens, our business cards and all that stuff. Even though like we usually have a pretty good system back there because we've done it a few times already. I'm trying to think what else goes more towards the back end. Eating lunch is always a weird experience. I feel like majority of people, for some reason, approach the table while you're taking a big old crunch of whatever you're eating. So we try to alternate who eats. So my friend is more like, she makes me eat first, because I often forget to eat sometimes if I'm doing something that requires my attention more often. So like if I'm working on commissions, I do forget to eat. Also, when anxiety takes over my body, I never feel hungry. So my friend likes to remind me to eat. So she'll say that she will only eat after I eat. So I will have to eat and then she can eat afterwards. But then it always leaves someone free to demand the table. I always get little lanyards for my phone. So you stick this in the back of your phone case, and this sticks out from kind of like where the charger would be, and you kind of get this little lanyard attached to it. I usually put these into my second phone. So I never traded in my my old phone. I've always kept it as my second phone. So sometimes I use it for like references. Other times it becomes a little bit more useful, and I use it as my payment phone. So it has like the Square app. I can have people type in it if they need to, if they're inserting for chip and stuff. And I have it on a lanyard because I've always heard stories of either like people accidentally taking your phone by accident when they're removing their card. They just like hold it in their hand and then you give your items to them and they just walk off and they don't even notice that they have your phone. So I have it low-key like on a leash so that I don't accidentally lose my phone, because I don't want to not be able to take card payment. Also, if you're not sure what a square is, this is a square. So it accepts debit and credit like tap, and then it inserts the card here if they need to do chip. I do not have the swipe, but typically I think most people don't do that nowadays, so tap and chip seems to be usually good enough. It connects via Bluetooth to your phone. You can charge it with a USB-C. And then I have my sticky on the bottom so that just in case I don't lose it. And make sure to sync it up to your phone prior to the convention. Otherwise, you're gonna see a gajillion square readers when you try to connect something via Bluetooth. So connect it to your phone first, have it connected and fully functioning prior. Also do like a 1 cent transaction to yourself to make sure that your payment goes through. And do this like several weeks in advance, and then do it on the day of to make sure that your Square reader is working. Because I know for me, on Saturday, which is always the busiest day for conventions, we ended up having, I don't know how exactly these Square servers work, but I guess we crashed it. I mean we, I don't mean like me and my table mate. I'm talking about the entirety of Otafest's Artist Alley and exhibitors, because no one's Square reader for debits were working. So I think even like for credit at some point didn't work either, because when I was trying to pay for my commission, it was not working initially, and I was like, I'll just pay with cash, but then it went through. So I think Otafest actually took care of it for us and got things kind of organized, because it would have been really bad if majority and mostly like every artist alongside with the exhibitors was not able to take payment. That's like something I also found kind of interesting this year. Profit wise, I can check digital profits quite easily because it's stored on my phone, and I can get reports from Square, so I can actually check. I thought the numbers were a little low, so I was worried that I did worse than last year. Which isn't great, especially if you always have to pump out like new products and stuff, or like revamping. Doing worse would just feel terrible. But I didn't realize how many people actually paid with cash this time. So because of that, I actually made the most amount that I've made from tabling just in general, which is great. And it's very encouraging because I am excited to make new revamped things and just continuing to draw the fandoms and things that I am personally like passionate about and just excited about, and seeing other people also like the same things and just being able to low-key like bond over them is always a great feeling. But my point was supposed to be that have digital payments like available. I highly recommend it, but I definitely think it shifted a little bit this year. Before and kind of like after COVID, I think digital payment was like, I say digital, I mean card. Payments were a little bit more prevalent, and I was not prepared. I think the first convention back from COVID, so I didn't accept card at that time, and I definitely missed out on quite a bit of sales because of that. But then when I started taking card, I think there was maybe like a 2-year buffer. And then this year, there was like a good even amount of both cash and cards. So that was kind of just nice to see the shift to go back a little bit, because as much as I like card payments, there's always like small fees. I think cash is a little bit easier to handle at times as long as you can do math, which I'm not very good at. But being sleep deprived, according to my friend, didn't do her any favors when doing math either. I don't even know what this really looks like down here. I think it's because I also changed his expression to be a little bit more wistful, maybe? But tabling, I think if you can get an assistant, I highly recommend it. It just takes and alleviates a lot of pressure off of you, especially if you're similar to me, if you have a little bit of social anxiety or on the shyer side, if you have a friend who is just a little bit more extroverted than you, I think it will greatly benefit. One, your sales, but just like your overall experience, because I think it's just nice to have a companion with you, table, because when there's downtime, you have someone to talk to. If you need to go to the bathroom, you don't have to awkwardly ask your table mate to help man your table and tell people that you'll come back. I guess maybe it's just my antisocialness that I don't want to talk to excess people if I don't need to. Also, ask for help if you need help. That is something that's like very important. I brute force my way carrying my grid setup. So our tables were 8 foot by 2 foot, or 2 foot by 8 foot. So 8 foot was the length, and I have no problem carrying my setup. So like when all the grids are fully attached and they are been zip tied, when it's a 6 foot table, because I am 5'4", 5'5" ish. I guess whatever 164 centimeters is in feet and inches. That is how tall I am. My wingspan, I can probably just, be able to pick something up that's 6 feet long. It's not going to be too bad of a problem because I will be able to grip majority of the grids anyways. But when it's 8 feet long, I was worried of accidentally snapping the center portion of my grids when lifting it up. The weight wasn't exactly the problem. It was more like the center portion would have bowed a lot and I was scared of it breaking. So I told myself, and I told my parents, my friend, my brother, that I would ask for help. And they're like reassuring me that oh, we could help if you need help, all that stuff. And I'm like, no, I'll do setup by myself. Like don't end work early to come help me. No need to make your way down here to come help me with setup, all that jazz. Even when my friend does work in downtown. But that's besides the point. I ended up not asking for help because I was too shy to. So I ended up putting my grid booth thing up by myself and having to use the provided chair to climb basically to the top of my grid to put up my prints. So in the past, when I've had a helper, usually friend A, because this is usually at conventions like outside of the city. So let's say like Anime Fawn, and it requires like her to drive and she's like stuck with me. I would actually have them help me assemble the grids. We'll zip tie them all. I would put the prints on prior and anything that needs to be like actually attached to it, and then we'll lift it up and put it onto the table. But because I didn't want to be able to, I wanted to be able to grip the table properly, so I decided to just do it while the grids were just like bare bones. But yeah, ask for help if you need it. There's always staff wandering around too, but I couldn't be bothered. Unfortunately, I'm that type that tries to do everything by myself until I absolutely have to get help. Like if my display broke or crumbled, I would have asked for help. But because it worked out in my favor in the end, I just let it be. So other back-end things, in terms of like where I get my merch from. So stickers I do print on my own. I have a photo printer, so that's the Canon Pixma Pro 100 that I got during my uni days because I wanted to be able to print higher quality prints. And then the other time was that I would use a laser printer to print off like there was like a very specific reason why I used a laser printer for quite a while. I might switch to only using my Canon printer. It's just that the ink is very expensive. But I might see if I can get a good deal on like knockoff inks. They typically have okay color payoff. There was only one knockoff brand that I found like the blue to be too dull. But I've stopped using theirs. So hopefully the ones that I've been using recently are very comparable to the actual official brand. I haven't really seen any much like of a color difference, so this should be okay. But in the future, maybe I'll just use those for stickers as well so that they're higher quality. But I kind of like the cheaper ones just because it kind of works with the pricing that I wanted to do if it's on the cheaper side and it's just like individual single stickers. but stickers I do print myself, unless I'm doing like some kind of specialty where I need to print on like clear or something like that, and I need white ink to be on the back, I will get them done somewhere else. I've been looking at like Vograce, I think it's called, Vograce, as like a manufacturer. I got my, what is it called? Alien Stage and Dungeon Meshy acrylic charms done by them, and I really like them. The quality's been really nice, and the way that they can mock up like their, what is it called? I guess like actually their mock-ups is actually really nice. So I am able to see what my products would potentially look like. Apparently they do their colors in RGB, which I have no idea how that's even possible, but their color accuracy has been great. The quality has been nice and crisp. For like sticker books and notebooks, I still use Vograce. I also use them for my standees just because I found the price to be better. I also am more comfortable talking to their representatives when it comes to them correcting any of my designs, like I did for the Haikyuu ones and the Dungeon Meshy ones. I'm trying to think what else. Tablecloth I think I got from Amazon a few years back. My little vertical banner or table runner, whichever you want to call it, I got it from Vistaprint. The price is kind of expensive, but I plan to use it for quite a while, so I don't see myself really replacing it for any time soon. So the price is actually pretty okay if I don't have to replace it too often. Business cards I usually try to get during deals off of move.com. You can also get them off of Vistaprint if you don't mind like their qualities, but I prefer Moo because I like their quality a little bit more. They are a little bit more pricey, but they also have like the, what is it called? The mini versions of their business cards, their mini cards, which I've been really liking. Other options is like QR code and having like a card or link tree, anything like that, so that people have some sort of way to find your social media. Oh, I guess like lunch. So my friend and I don't really leave our table too often. I typically buy lunch for her. Sometimes at conventions they have like a company or a menu selection. So this time I think Otafest didn't really have like a menu type of menu. They had like a snack kombini. So I ordered like little melon pans for her because I just asked her what would she like for which days, and I'll just order it for her because I think everyone treats it a little bit different. For me, my friends will not accept payment. So no matter how much I try to pay them for, you know, helping me out at tabling and stuff, they will not accept payment. So I will always 100% take care of, if anyone's driving me, I will take care of their gas. I will also pay for all of their meals for all the days. So it's including setup day, day 1, day 2, day 3. So I will pay for all their meals. What else is there? Lodging and housing I will also pay, so they pay nothing of it. All they're giving to me is their, I guess, their time and their labor. They pay nothing. Oftentimes I will also I have to trick them typically, but I will try to pay for any of the merch that they want to buy from other artists. I try my best to buy at the same time as them. Luckily, Friend B and me have very similar tastes in not in characters-ish. I guess like more like in series and in artists and just like art style and like aesthetic. So if she ever wants to buy something, I always try to weasel my way through, try to pay for it, and then not let her pay me back. That's how it usually is. Friend A, she's not like a big spender, and she's been kind of like not as hardcore into like anime, or like she's not really into art either. She's just there for the experience and like to come hang out with me, which I'm also very, very much thankful for. But because of that, usually I can't weasel my way with paying for any merch or anything for her. So I'm trying to think. I could probably rope her into a blind box at least. It'll be just a gift. I'm trying to think what else is there. I don't know if I've talked about this before. I'm pretty sure gift giving is probably one of my love languages. I don't think I'm a gift receiver type of person. I think I am like... Am I? I don't think I am. I think more of like words of affirmation and quality time is more for me, but I like giving people things quite a bit. So like I like making things for people. I like buying things for people. I don't like spending too much on myself, but I do like spending almost like an unlimited amount of my funds on my friends. So yeah, I try to spoil them as much as I can, even though oftentimes they don't let me, but I will always weasel my way through. I think it's like almost in recent years that my friend has finally figured out that I ask a lot of like questions that eventually becomes like their birthday gifts or their Christmas gifts. And then I start very early. I start as early as January for their Christmas gifts and try to figure out what they're into, what can I buy, and then like I have a whole list, and then I slowly like knock them down to figure out what is most like currently their interest by the time I actually have to buy it. And then luckily their birthdays are both in the later half of the year, so I have plenty of time usually to pick out things, but I think about giving them gifts and stuff quite often. Which is why also for like, if you're just nice to me in general, I tend to want to like give you things. So a few mutuals who I did like commission for, I drew like extra things for them because they were very sweet. It kind of backfired because they ended up also spending more time and sending me more stuff as well, which I always hate that I might be giving off the pressure of people thinking they need to return the favor, which is never the case. Because like I said, I don't think I'm a gift receiving type of person either, so I never really expect anything back. I just like giving people things. I'm trying to think what else. Which I think is also a good thing that my friend has a little bit more of like marketing sensibility than I do. Because I think it would be easy for some people to wear me down if they kept asking for like discounts or like, can you give me a deal or whatever. Usually I'm okay with saying just like, oh no, sorry, that's like the set price. This is what we always charge. But sometimes if you ask in a certain way or if you're too nice, I am very compelled to just be like, yeah, sure. So luckily my friend can rein it in because it's not her stuff, so she's like she can really, yeah. I feel like this is gonna be a very rambly video. I apologize like if this one's gonna be like an hour long or something. Forget what I was supposed to talk about in terms of like more back-end stuff in terms of the convention. So 3 days actually went by pretty quickly. Sunday I thought went like a little bit slow. It's also like considered like less time because it's like it ends 3 hours earlier. But it actually did comparable in sales with Friday. So typically for me, sales would go Saturday being always earning the most, and then Friday and Sunday can swap because sometimes Friday actually gets like a full day and a lot of people do show up, so it might run as like just a normal functioning day, but some people do work on Friday, so because of that, some people might not show up. But typically for me, Otafest falls on the long weekend every time, so some people do get that Friday off as well as the Monday off. So sometimes Sunday also performs very well, but because it does have shorter hours, you might not make as many sales compared to other full days, but also it's the last day, so some people might like end up doing their last minute buys that day. They might hold off until the last day, so you might actually make a lot of sales on Sunday. So for some reason, all 3 days are actually very comparable, which is great because like I mentioned, because Saturday performed really well and the other 2 days performed very similar to Saturday, I did make the most amount this convention go around compared to previous years, which is great because for the most part it's always been like a slow steady increase, which is always great to see kind of like improvement. Also sketching wise, I think I am gonna sketch out Calyx. I kind of want to sketch him with the pom-pom pudding little guy. See how this looks. I don't draw a lot of like Sanrio characters other than like Cinema Roll for my friends. I'll make his hands go up and then Calyx's hands can go like right underneath. insider tip. So I mentioned before that I will be kind of like replenishing and kind of like changing up my print lineup. So it might require me to downsize because it'll take me a while for me to actually draw that many things to refill the amount of space that I currently had. I'm not getting rid of everything. A lot of the ones that have like plain solid backgrounds are the ones that I'm trying to get rid of because I drew only just like a plain Genshin portrait and it's just like a solid colored background. I always did the method of merging all my layers together, so a lot of them have errors. So I will definitely do like a whole redrawing series of characters that I personally really like and I want to like do an updated version. Also, like a lot of like the more popular ones I will probably just like redraw in the end anyways. But if you get insight on voice actors, guests, anything like that, highly recommend have fan art of some of those characters available. If you sell small prints, a lot of people actually will come to your... Okay, this is not like a guarantee, but I found this as a very consistent trend, at least for mine. I don't know if it's the size of print or because my prints are just like easier on the eyes in terms of like where people can place signage. A lot of people come to my booth requesting specific characters that voice actors are known for that will be signing for that day. So previous years, I had a lot of people buy Zhongli, I had a lot of people buy Child or Tartaglia because what's his name? Griffin Burns and I forget Zhongli's voice actor, the one with the deeper voice, but they were there at Otafest one year, and I happened to be very close to their signing autograph booth in terms of just lucky placement of my table. And because of that, a lot of people came to my booth to buy last minute prints to have something for the voice actor to sign. So I didn't think I was going to get lucky this year either, but I had a few people request Beto. I have not drawn Beto yet, so that was poor decision on my part. I was planning on doing it just for marketing purposes, but also I'm planning on drawing Beto just in the future in general, because I believe it's Allegra Clark. She was there. Last minute, also Dimitri's voice actor from Fire Emblem Heroes, or not Fire Emblem Heroes, Fire Emblem Three Houses, alongside with Ayato was there again, so Chris Hackney. And I've also had like a spike of people buy Ayato prints at a previous AnimeFon when Chris Hackney was the voice actor there. And I've talked about my experience. I actually met Chris Hackney. He came to my booth because he liked my Ayato print. I ran out of Ayatos that time, and he bought an Ayaka print instead. But I was too nervous, and I was like, I forgot to ask if he could sign my sketchbook, and I just like entirely blanked. So he probably thinks like I didn't know who he was, which would have been very awkward. But he was very nice, so it just feels like a regret. But I had also, I think it was Koi and Laura Stahl as well, had people tell me that they really liked my Albedo print, as well as my Barbara Shinyan print as well. So it was very, very sweet that a lot of people brought like my prints to their signings. So if you have insight into voice actors and like guests, highly recommend having some sort of like printed merch of them. If you're focusing on like marketing and just like sales, that is something to look at. What else? I guess like current trends are always like something you should look at if you're doing just like purely for marketing purposes or like you only care about sales. ZZZ is doing very well. I'm not into it, so I didn't draw any alongside with Lads or like Love in Deep Space. A lot of people requested or asked about that, and I did not have any at the time. My friend said she wants me to get into it, so she's gonna help inform me about it. I don't know if I'll play the game, but she'll fill me in, and maybe I'll do fan art of them. Who knows? I'm trying to think what else. Plave was nice. Alien Stage, there was only a few. VTubers, I was glad to see both a lot of like Hololive. I am going to branch out into like indie ones as well, and a lot of Niji still. So yeah, I'm just glad to find people who have similar interests, because there's a lot of people who are like on Starries, I guess. Always happy about that too, because drawing all the OnStar characters, if they got no love, I would have thought like all of that time would have been wasted. I did wish that I had done the Project Sekai characters in time, but I think I'm just gonna continue to brainstorm how I want to format them as stickers first, and then maybe I'll make like mini charms or something of them, because I think that'd be kind of cute. And then catch up on some of my Niji merch. It was sad. Unfortunately, so a lot of my Ike Evelyn merch actually did really well. And it probably is because he graduated, which makes me sad. But I did meet a lot of children, so that was a plus. I kind of wish I brought my Ike Pape, like my little puppet, because I actually don't know that a lot of children knew that I'm also a children. They probably just think like I draw the entirety of Niji Sanji in general, which technically I do. There's a lot of gaps I have to fill. I felt so bad to people who are fans of Crisis, because I have only stickers of the boys. I have no prints, no photo cards, no like the derp stickers that I make of them available, because I took like a long break after I think Exole, so I don't have any of their merch made properly. And I like speed ran by the beat, which I feel bad because I definitely missed like 3 waves in between. So I'm gonna play catch up. There was a lot of Wilsoneers, so yeah. I feel really bad, but it's like deceptively seems like I had everyone technically, because I only had everyone of like individual stickers. I don't know. I feel like once I'm in a fandom, I do want to draw every character, so that, you know, everyone's kind of represented, and it's not like that one character that's like left out. Because something that will forever haunt me is that AnimeFon's not like a local con to me. I do have to drive out to that one. Because of that, I'm not able to like restock immediately. Let me actually talk about restocking after this as well. I ended up not bringing Switch from Ensemble Stores, like legit the entire unit. I did not bring in my binder. So when people were looking for them, they're like, "Do you hate Switch?" And I'm like, "No, it's because I'm stupid and I didn't bring them." And I was like half debating running to my hotel room to go check whether or not I actually forgot them in the hotel room suitcase. But good thing I did not do that, because they were actually sitting comfortably back at home. But luckily I remembered them this time. So no one was forgotten. I just have to think of a better layout, because some people thought that because they didn't fit into one acrylic stand, people thought I missed like a few units because I put them on the second stand. So it goes like top to bottom, and then it restarts back at the top of the next acrylic stand. But I have like majority of Haikyuu on there, so I think people dismissed it. And they would often ask like, "Oh, like you didn't draw this unit or whatever," and I would be like, "Please refer to this side." I promise I'm not like excluding certain units or anything. I have a lot of ideas though, so I'm going to once again set aside some of the money from the convention that will be put back into both the store as well as I guess in this case I am going to be hopefully running Patreon probably for July, my birthday month, as a trial. I keep pushing it back because this is not time-wise, it's just not feasible for me to commit to Patreon quite yet. But I will be doing that hopefully for July. I want to at least do it for my birthday month, because I feel like it makes the most sense to like really show a lot of my OC's love during that time. So but yeah, some of the funds will go towards the store, some will go towards like making stuff for the Patreon, and then the rest goes back into making merch for future conventions. Because I want to retire a lot of old products to make room for new ones, and I am usually too scared to make new products because I don't think they're going to sell, so I tend to scrap the idea. But luckily, friend B is very level-headed, and she snaps me out of it. So she told me that I could always bounce ideas off of her, and then she'll kind of give me like, yeah, you're not crazy. Go with that idea. Because she's the one helping me with my Dungeon Meshi, my Haikyuu pen stands, because I was like, is this a stupid idea? To make a pen stand like this? But I think I'm gonna make more in the future. I think it's just like a cute format. And I would love to make one of like the Astral Express, which I think would look super cute. And I'm thinking of probably making Niji charms. I'm just, the graduation slew of like people kind of scares me. I know a lot of people still like the livers even after they graduate. It just feels bad having merch of them left over. Because I don't want to be like, oh, like no one thinks about them anymore, so like I don't want to like discontinue bringing them. I had some people ask about some graduated VTubers that are like not recent, and I'm like, I technically have them, I just didn't display them. Their old self when they've reincarnated, if that makes sense. Okay, but let me talk about restock. So restocking for local cons, I think, is a little bit easier if you do a lot of the printing yourself. So like I said, I do stickers and prints by myself. So I use the Canon Pixma Pro 100 to do both my prints, some stickers, but I use the laser printer for the majority of the rest. I have like the hollow foam, all that stuff, the cutting machine, all at home. So because of that, I can make any of the stickers kind of like on demand as long as I have time. Otherwise, I have to pre-prep, and I would have less prep time if I have to go to a convention that's out of my city. So let's take AnimeFun, for example. If I were to run out of stock of anything, I would not be able to reprint anything. So it'll be just like out of stock for all 3 days if for some reason it goes out of stock on Friday. When I do out of stock for a local con like Otafest, and it's like 3 days, I will most likely put sold out, and if there's a day like tomorrow, I will most likely put sold out, be back tomorrow, be back whichever day that, you know, follows that particular convention day. So that way people know, and if they are willing to come back, it will be back in stock. I always try my best to restock everything as much as I can, but sometimes things just slip my mind, like when I do inventory checks of like certain prints. Sometimes I think I get everything correct, but then there's like one print that I never check, so it only has like one in stock, and for some strange reason somebody buys it on Friday, and then suddenly I have something sold out immediately, which is deceptive in a way, but it's not like it wasn't true. Like it truly is just sold out, but I'm able to like reprint and stuff, which is why I can't wait to have like a fresh start for prints, because the reason why I don't do like a full replenish of some of the prints is because I don't want to have too much excess if I can help it. And I typically would assume a lot of my older stuff does not sell as well anymore, so I don't restock a lot of it. But sometimes conventions surprise me and they sell well, and I sell out of the remaining prints that I do have. Then I will do like a restock, and then they don't sell out ever again. So it's like, it's a hit or miss for a lot of the products. So I just kind of have to bite the bullet, do a proper restock so that we don't sell out on the first day and make it a little bit weird. And yeah, it's probably just a me thing, to be honest. Trying to think what else to talk about in terms of Otafest. I guess like when it comes to like celebrating the very end, so after we finish doing our what is it called, takedown, I usually invite my friend, and she gets free reign on whatever food she would want. So we ended up going for sushi. Unfortunately, it rained quite heavily that day. So we went to a very close by sushi place that was jam-packed. And I think both of us were not really hungry. I don't know if it's because we ate such a late lunch, but it was much smaller of a celebratory meal. Other times, with friend A, I've done KBBQ, I've done Korean with them. I've done KBBQ with friend A as well. I've also done sushi with them, and I've done, what else was the other one? I've also done like Japanese and then go for desserts or something. But I think that day we were just so exhausted and it was raining so much that we didn't want to be outside anymore. So I just drove her home after eating. I'm just glad both of my friends like enjoy tabling enough that they're not deterred from helping me in the future. So that's all I can ask for. If they had no experience like doing tabling and stuff, them just being there helps me already a lot, just because it calms my anxiety having somebody with hopefully a functioning brain to help me out with things just in general, like on the back end stuff, like, oh, if I don't know or I forget like the pricing of something. Oh, that's another thing. Have a cheat sheet. Have a cheat sheet for you and your table mate, whoever's helping, at the back of your station, so you know exactly how everything is priced. And don't be afraid to use your calculator if you need to add everything up, because sometimes me and my friend are so brain dead that we need to use the calculator to tally up some of the totals, and we still get it wrong sometimes because we either miss an item, we mistype, but luckily people also catch our mistakes. Oh, that's another thing. Just be very aware at your table. We had two people. One forgot their merch after they paid, so I had to run and go get them. And then the other one, they gave me back the machine because they had to put their card into the chip, and then they just like, you know, ended the transaction. Like, not ended the transaction. They finished, they got their stuff, and they just left. And I just look at my machine. I'm like, their card's still here, so I had to find them again. Luckily, they didn't walk off too far, so that's also very good. I'm trying to think what else is there. Bring a lot of water, bring snacks and sustenance, or just like conventions in general. I definitely would love to table again. Local con is definitely the easier one, and it's the most cost effective. Because if I have to go anywhere else, you have to think about like Airbnbs or accommodations, hotel sharing, anything like that. So yeah. If I can get into my local con every time, I would definitely want to. Just, you're at the mercy of the lottery, so not guaranteed. But my friend and I are always thinking about doing Anime North. But when I was talking to another friend who lives in Ontario, I definitely have to get a full table. Half table will not cut it, only because like I have to bring a friend to come table with me. Unless I share the table with the Ontario friend, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I want to try, because it'll be fun to do another like non-local con. But then this one's like even further, because at least Anime Fun is more like, it's not local, but it's a one that's within my province. So like, is that considered local? How close do you have to be for it to be considered local? Because it's a few hours away. So I would love to do one that's like out of province, even though like logistically flying is a nightmare and luggage would be a nightmare because my grids are freaking heavy. Because the other option is just to ask my friend if I can just like buy grids, send it there, and just have her keep it for me. But I don't want her to do that. Because she does not have unlimited space. But okay, I think that's it. I'm gonna be rambling too long. So this one's Calyx. This one's Danheng. And we have Maseki. I'm being so distracted. I'm watching Calyx's Vocaloid karaoke, but here are the drawings that I did for today's little rambling session. I wish I drew a little bit more, but I think it's okay. I mostly did rambling today. But thank you guys very much for being patient while I was away on my impromptu trip. I think all uploads and stuff should be resumed as normal. Hopefully. I have not drawn a lot during when I was gone to Hong Kong and China. So I will hopefully dust off all the rest and we'll come back because there's a lot of things I do want to draw, and hopefully there's things I can show you guys while I work on them. So yeah, one thing is the flower zine still. It's been put on the back burner for so long, but I will return to it this summer. So yeah. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time in the next video. Bye!